Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Today we are back with another Dokkan Battle animation analysis. And yes indeed, you saw the title. Oh boy, we got some funny global shenanigans going on today. When don't we have global shenanigans going on? So, as many of you are aware, the next JP Dokkan Fest is going to be Fizz Rose. Obviously, this was a Dokkan Fest that we already got on Global. This was the banner that returned Zamasu and Vegito Blue. And of course, now bringing this to the JP version, it's very interesting because, of course, people have been thinking, well, how is this all going to work with the sync? And lo and behold, yes, indeed, as some people predicted, we are actually getting a side banner unit on the JP version of the banner, which Global did not get. So who knows how this guy is going to come to Global? I'm assuming that either they'll just throw him in the unfeatured pool, or he'll probably on some kind of future category banner. Literally the category future, not like in the future, but I guess that also technically applies. So very, very interesting as well, because this is actually the first Super Saiyan 2 Trunks from Dragon Ball Super, right? Technically, the only Trunks that we have in the game right now that is Super Saiyan 2 is the very old STR one that was like almost an OG unit. It came out in the first couple of years of the game. Yeah, this guy right here that obviously got a Dokkan Awakening later, because obviously this is Trunks Teen, and then this one is not Trunks Teen, so he has a different name. So pretty cool that this is technically the second Super Saiyan 2 Trunks in the game. But my boy did get some animations that are actually pretty good, to be honest with you. So we are going to take a look at these. Obviously, we're going to watch through them one time through first, and then we will go through and analyze. So, as per usual, I always like to preface this by saying I by no means a animation professional or anything like that. I just look at these animations for fun, and I think I have a pretty good idea of what makes a good Dokkan animation from looking at these PNGs all the time and doing these videos. Now, with that being said, very cool that they gave this guy an intro. It's kind of crazy that they gave him an intro, considering all the shenanigans that happened with this guy, of course, not being on Global. But I will say, I think the animations are honestly pretty good. I know I even saw a lot of people saying that these animations were better than Fizz Rose's, which was very funny to see that not coming out of my mouth. I'm not going to claim that because I don't like to really compare units of sort of like different status, right? Because obviously that's comparing a Dokkan Fest unit to a side banner unit. I feel like those units should kind of be compared sort of in their own category. But with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at what our man has to offer. So, unfortunately, we don't have a anime versus Dokkan comparison for you because, well, I don't know if anybody was necessarily going to be doing one for this guy, but hey, that's okay. So, we start off with the intro animation, which is Trunks just standing there. One thing to keep in mind as well when it always comes to these intro animations is that every time there is an intro animation, they always try and keep it a little bit more simple, basically, where there's not as much animation to it, but it's more of an introduction for the character. By the way, sorry if you can hear that. There is not only a thunderstorm going on outside, but there's people mowing the lawn right outside my window, which is just great for recording. But anyway, so obviously we have Trunks enter the scene. It is cool that all of the animations as well will be Trunks in the green outfit, because obviously in the card art here, that's what he's in. So cool that they're actually going to give that to him in the animations too, which makes sense. You have Trunks close his eyes and obviously focus in. I will say it is pretty cool because even though this animation is super simple, you can actually see a very, very good animation of Trunks' expression change first, right? Obviously, which is pretty easy to tell, but you can see that even the hair moves a little bit when Trunks moves his head down, right? You can see right there, the hair kind of moves a little bit. Bro, where is this on other Dokkan animations? We talk about all the time, like the minimal movement is one of the things that really makes these animations shine and really makes them pop and feel a lot more lifelike. You're telling me that they gave this to some random side banner unit that's just going to go in the unfeatured pool and they can't give it to Dokkan Fest? to have this, because, you know, it's just what makes these animations, it's the subtleties that make it feel so lifelike, right? So either way, very, very cool that they decided to do this regardless, again, because it's an intro animation. I definitely could have seen them not doing that. So it's nice to see that they still gave them a little bit of love in that department. But obviously we zoom in, and obviously it's supposed to be like Trunks' memories, or, you know, just his thoughts. And you have this very cool shot of Hercule, Videl, and Gohan, which is awesome, obviously, because, you know, thinking about his master and, you know, the life that he is now able to live in this timeline because they were able to achieve peace, right? Very, very cool moment. I definitely like the way that this is executed as well, with obviously having the little, like, I don't even know what you would call that, like memory bubbles or something like that, right? Like, obviously the little things on screen are supposed to be there to represent the fact that, oh, like, this is a memory, and, you know, it's like kind of like in a haze sort of thing, right? So I think that's pretty cool, and it is nice that they also give these guys a little bit of perspective as well, because it's not just like a static PNG. You can kind of see, as this continues, Videl actually moves up a little bit, which is pretty cool, honestly, because you can tell this from, look at when it first starts, right? Look at where the edge of Videl's hair is on the very left, the bottom left of where Videl's hair is cut, right? Look at that in comparison to Hercule's gi, right? Like the edge of where his gi meets his chest and his abs, right? If we go forward, you can see that move as the animation goes on, right? And you can see her hair get closer and closer to the edge before, obviously, basically by the end, it's touching the edge of Hercule's gi, right? Or, well, you know, where the lines are touching in the art, right? So pretty cool that, again, this isn't just like a static PNG. This is actually like something that's moving a little bit. And obviously the little like bubbles of, you know, whatever the memory, you know, representation there, obviously those are moving. And then, of course, when it transitions into the city that Trunks was looking over, obviously this was the view from Capsule Corp, right? When Trunks, I believe this would have been the view like in the scene where Trunks meets Android 18 in this timeline, right? And then, of course, Krillin's like, oh, this is my wife, you know, whole thing. So that's pretty cool, right? Obviously referencing that a little bit. And, of course, it's really interesting the way that they do this, because the visuals here are really on point in the way of, like, telling you the story without needing to speak it, right? They're just showing it to you, because obviously this nice, like, you know, super fuzzy sort of like world that, you know, has been made because, you know, they saved this timeline, right? Then turns dark and bleak immediately back into Trunks' timeline and the memory that he has of where he comes from, right? So it's very, very interesting because, you know, they're really able to just do a very good job of, you know, basically tell you exactly what Trunks is thinking in this from 3 shots, essentially, which I think is really well done, for sure. We then cut back, right, from a white pan to the shot of Trunks, obviously with his eyes closed. And with this, we get a fantastic Super Saiyan transformation. I love the electricity and the yellow aura before it spikes up. And Trunks looks fantastic here, by the way. I have to say, his hair looks on point in the way that it's moving. The aura looks really, really cool. And then, of course, we cut to this shot of Trunks standing there. I feel like his hair looks a little bit shorter here somehow, or maybe longer than it did in the close-up frame. It looks a little bit like off proportion, I swear, on the smaller model. Like here, I feel like it looks closer. But either way, though, the whole thing looks fantastic, right? The aura looks really good. I really like the electricity. Definitely a very, very good job for sure. And again, this is a very simple animation, but not only is this a side banner unit, but obviously this is also you know, an intro animation, and they usually like to keep it simple when it comes to these intro animations. So definitely very, very cool. But yeah, let's move on now to the super attack animation, which I actually think it's kind of interesting. I feel like I like the intro more, to be honest with you, but I do like the super as well. So we have this pretty cool shot of Trunks coming in. I will say a lot of the like paused frames of the art in this super looks really good. Like I think Trunks is drawn pretty good here. It's also interesting, I swear I don't think I've really seen Trunks with like the lighter colored Super Saiyan hair that's a little bit almost closer to white with that yellow tint. So that's kind of interesting seeing it here. But we have Trunks move past the screen, and even though this is a PNG, I think they do a good job of basically like making it seem like he's running, because they kind of make it like ba-dum, 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 ba-dum in the way that the PNG moves. moves as well. Do his legs move? It's kind of hard to tell because it's so dark. Yeah, I don't think his leg actually moves there, but you're not really looking at that down there. I think the way they move the PNG, though, makes it kind of look like that he's running, so they definitely do a good job with that. But yeah, then we have Trunks coming in from obviously the back, right, which I think this running animation looks fine, right? We then get to this section, which I think is really interesting because I will say, starting it off, Trunks is like flying through the air, but I guess the implication would then just kind of be like he jumped or he's now flying, right? And then you have this rapid fire attack on Zamasu. Obviously, there's not like a ton of in-between frames between this, but I think it works fine. And I think it looks like a cool onslaught. There is still a couple of stuff, you know, Trunks winding up between the slashes, right, to kind of throw the next slash out, which is pretty cool. And you do have this end part right here, where Trunks obviously is kind of bringing the sword back because obviously it's like recoiling basically from the last slash. I do think that is pretty cool. Also, I suppose this cut isn't so bad because if you're looking at this, right, you would probably think that, what would that be? Trunks' right knee would then be the one to come up and knee Zamasu if it was going to, and that is indeed the knee that then hits Zamasu because it would make more sense for the one that's already back, right, to then wind up and hit him. So that is pretty cool, I will admit. We do have Trunks then make contact and obviously kick him away. Again, I like that on the foot there is a little bit of like residual animation after the kick is actually made to represent like obviously him pushing his leg forward. Pretty cool. Nice little air effects as well. We have Trunks stretch out his arms. I like as well that for this whole thing, excuse me, they have like the arm blurred before then extending it out, right, into you know, his fingers being more straight, right? And of course, with this animation, you have Trunks standing out before we get a little bit of a power-up, which looks pretty good, right? I like the way that the aura sort of surrounds him here. And then, right, after that, I believe it cuts into, yep, this shot of Trunks here. I will say, this is the only shot where I feel like Trunks might look a little bit off. I feel like his eyes are too big. It's nothing too crazy, and I feel like it's nothing really to complain about, but obviously this being an animation analysis, I'll always, you know, try and point out stuff like this. Regardless, though, I think that this shot does look pretty cool, right? Obviously, you have Trunks bring his arms forward. It's also interesting how they executed this so they didn't have to show more of his arms, right? They basically have it so that his arms are off screen and then they come down to meet and then they go up, right? Which is interesting too, because obviously it's different from the way that Vegeta executes the final flash, which is really cool that that's what this attack is, by the way. But it's interesting because Vegeta just has his arms out and then he just slams his hands together, right? Or like the base of his hands, where Trunks brought them down and then up again, which I think is kind of an interesting distinction between the two. But either way, though, you have the super awesome electricity. I love the lighting and the shadows here. It looks really, really good. And then, of course, this is a banger transition right here, if I do say so myself. We have the white light envelop the screen from the blast, and that is what transitions into the card art. Fire, bro! Fire transition right there. I love when Dokkan does stuff like this, where they take advantage of the animation and then kind of weave it into the game's mechanics almost. So then you have, right, obviously the blast being fired off, which looks really good. Again, the aura there too. And then, of course, super nice looking blast. To be honest with you, I really like the way that this is executed, where it's basically like it's, you know, hitting the ground because it's so big, and then obviously flying towards the enemy. And again, the explosion at the end too, and like the way the energy kind of like envelops the enemy, all of it looks really, really good, super dynamic, and it looks fantastic, if I do say so myself. So yeah, that is the brand new AGL Super Saiyan 2 Trunks. Honestly, I would say that they really cooked with these animations. Of course, this is a side banner unit, so I always try and hold them to a little bit of a lower standard than I do for, you know, full-fledged Dokkan Fest. But man, I don't know. I think this guy's animations are pretty good, to be honest with you. It's really cool to see that, you know, if they were going to make a side banner unit for this guy, obviously they definitely gave us a good one in the animation department. So let me know what you think in the comments section below. Let me know if you are excited for this unit, and let me know how you think Global's going to introduce this character on the Global, because we have no idea. But yeah, with that being said, don't forget to like and subscribe if you did enjoy, and with all that being said, I will catch you in the next one. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.